Hey guys, it's Jen from Exploring with Anxiety. I wanted to come talk to you guys today about why I don't watch the news. There's many reasons I don't watch the news, but number one, I was a journalism major and I know their game. And it really disturbs me at how many people think that one news station or the other news station is more truthful than the other. They're all liars. They're all slanters. They're all storytellers. That's their job, dude. That's their job, to get a story and to slant it toward the audience that they cater to. Now, I interned for a major news network when I was in college. I'm not going to tell you guys which one because I'm not about to get hit with a slander or libel lawsuit, but I interned for a major news network in college. I saw behind the scenes what happens, okay? You all need to understand that all they do is pander to the specific audience that watches them. So if you're on this side and you say, oh, Fox News is the best, they're the truth teller. No, they're not, honey. If you're on this side, CNN is the best. They tell the truth. They're not biased. Yes, they are biased, honey, and they don't tell you the whole truth. Listen, any news station that's on a major network is not unbiased. You're just puppets in a little game. The fact that a group of people veers right and a group of people veers left, that's the whole problem in the country. And that's the reason why nothing progresses, is because that's how they keep people divided. They pander to the audience that they cater to, and then they reinforce the falsity that these other news stations are out to get you. These other news networks are out to get you. Their propaganda. It's all propaganda, sweetie. All of it. Okay. You need to understand and unblock your brain and realize that they're all propaganda. I only pay attention to only a very few, okay, news networks, and they're in the middle. And they tend to be things like BBC and things like that. Not CNN, not Fox, not MSNBC, not all those. Those are all just manipulators. They're disgusting. When I interned at the newsroom at this major MSM, when I interned there, I saw how it worked. It's trickle down. They get stuff from higher ups that say, broadcast this, but slant it in this direction. They don't tell the whole story that they get. They tell the story that their audience will like, that they think the audience will like to hear. And more people, more people need to understand this. InfoWars, honey, no, that's not unbiased, okay? That is straight up extremist right, okay? The same thing with the extremist left. It's not even MSNBC. It's like some other like Liberator or something, like this outlet that people like to say is unbiased. No, it's not. It's not, boo. And if you guys are ever wondering what media is unbiased and true, they have charts that you can look at. The ones in the middle are unbiased and least biased. I pay attention and read Reuters, because they're smack in the middle. BBC, like I said before, all these in the middle, those are your best bet, okay? These, the more right they go, they're more extremist, right, conservative, whatever you want to call it. These are the complete propaganda resources, InfoWars, OAN, all that stuff. This is the left propaganda. So Occupy Democrats, Palmer Report, all those. No, I only pay attention to the middle of this chart. And coming from someone who majored in journalism, I love when people think they know more than somebody who's actually an expert in something. Just like the pandemic, the last year, like people think they know more than doctors and stuff. No, honey, you don't. You don't know more than a journalism major does because you weren't in the trenches with it. I was. I pay attention to BBC, Reuters, PBS, ABC, NPR. That's basically all I pay attention to. You just can't help some people. Some people are so entrenched and underwater with the propaganda that they love that they refuse to even acknowledge that they're a puppet in their scheme. You are a puppet. If you love Fox News and you don't watch anything else, you're a puppet. If you love CNN and you don't watch anything else, you're a puppet, honey. They're just pulling your strings because that's what they do. They pull the strings to make people think that their side is better than the other side. It's not, honey. They're both the same. So before someone wants to come at me and say, you don't know anything, go to school for journalism, honey, and then come at me. Okay. Go intern at a news station and then come at me. If you are someone who's struggling, because I know a lot of people are actually in the middle, and I know a lot of people who are independent are in the middle. And if you're struggling with finding a reliable news source, or you're watching TV and you're like, I don't even think that this is a source that I can trust, just look at that media bias chart and just pay attention to the ones in the middle who actually report facts and who don't slant things and who don't try to cater to one side or the other, because that's the best way to do it. So because I majored in journalism, I do not watch the news, because I know how twisted it is and how deceptive it is and how just wrong. It's wrong. It's like everyone's always like, oh, this country or that country has a huge propaganda machine. Honey, what do you think America is too? It's the same thing, but they disguise it as democracy and freedom. No, it's the same. I am actually not political at all. I don't believe in it, because I believe that politics only exists to further divide people, so they stay blind to what's really going on. And the more that they succeed at that, then the more that people are never going to be united. Sometimes it's really blatant. And if you take a step back and, erase your biases that you have, and you'll see how it's very, very much like mind control. Both sides. I have friends on both sides of the spectrum. I have friends who are extremely left-leaning. I have friends who are extremely right-leaning. And every time they send me something, every time they text me something from a news source, I text them back and say, that's not an accurate source, because it's not. An accurate source is unbiased. An accurate source does not have any affiliation with any political party. And that's a whole nother story. I don't want to get into politics on here, because I'm talking about why I don't watch the news, but politics exists to control people and keep them divided. They don't exist to unite people. That's what they say. Have they done it? No. They've actually done the opposite. That's why I'm centrist. But I don't watch the news because I majored in journalism. I know the tricks they use and I know what goes on. I actually had a class in college that we had to try to make a boring news story sound exciting. And what I mean by that is we were trained to write in clickbait. They train journalism majors, and I don't know if it's like this anymore, because things have really changed since I was in college, like in 2010, 2011. They train journalism majors to slant stories one way or the other. We actually had courses on how to write headlines to make the stories more clickable. And the problem is today, people don't read the actual story. They read the headline and then they decipher from that what the article is about, when the article could be something completely different than the headline, because the headline only exists to get clicks. The headline of an article, if it's clickbait, is usually 5% of the entire article. They usually mention the headline in one minor sentence in the article, but the whole article alludes to or is about something else. So people need to understand that because people don't read nowadays, they just look at the headline and share it. That is where misinformation is coming from, and that is where the propaganda machine is working. They read headlines, and then they extrapolate from that headline what the story is about without reading the actual story. And that is what's causing the problems today. So if you read news, if you click on a clickbait headline and share it to Facebook without even reading the article, do better. Read the article first, because you'll see that the headline, it's not the gist of the article. And that is the one thing that I will always remember from journalism class, is they taught us how to lie without lying. They taught us how to lie without lying. White lies. And a lot of it was helpful in making you realize, I don't want to work in this industry. I work in marketing. I write and I edit, which is what I've always done. but I have a journalism degree. I call it a communications degree because it's really the same thing. But on my actual piece of paper I have that cost me like, you know, all this debt, it says journalism. It's funny because when you go into school for a specific major and you complete your major, and then you realize, wow, I know stuff about the inside of this industry that nobody else knows. And it's not just journalism, it's other industries too, I'm sure. I am so sure there's people who majored in other things who are thinking the same thing that I think. But when you major in something and you see the inner workings of it, and then there's people in your life or people you overhear talking about the industry that you majored in, you want to just go over to them and be like, let me tell you how it works, because that's not how it works. I beg you, whoever's watching this and whoever made it this far in the video, I'm pretty sure not a lot of people, but please, 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 please don't be that person who is contributing to the propaganda machine that is in every country. But the problem is people don't think that their particular source is propaganda. They think that the opposing viewpoint is propaganda. No, honey, yours is propaganda too. It's just a different kind of propaganda. Okay, so I implore you to look at that media bias chart and try to follow the news networks. They're not even networks, they're organizations. Networks always, you know, have an ulterior motive, okay? Follow the news organizations that are in the middle of that chart, because that is where you'll get your best, most accurate factual information from. And I can't believe I had to make a video on this because it's really sad, the state of everything. It's really sad that people have been suckered in to one side of the spectrum or the other, thinking it's 100% truth. And it's not. The only thing it is making them hate the other side even more. That's what it is. And that's what's going on. So come on, guys, recognize it, get it together. But that's why I don't watch the news. And I also don't watch the news because it's depressing. Like, I have anxiety and I don't want to see constant negativity. Ignorance is bliss. Yeah. Like, people who are ignorant to stuff in life, there's truth to that. Like, they're happy because they don't know what's going on. I don't really want to know what's going on. I'm a millennial. We've had to deal with a bunch of crap ever since we were kids, one after the other after the other. Okay. I don't even want to hear it anymore. Like, I'm like this. I don't care anymore because it's too much. It's too much. And this is why people have mental breakdowns. And this is why people are depressed. And this is why people feel hopeless. Move away from all that for like a month or so. Just don't look at it. Don't watch it. Don't even go on social media, because stuff pops up on social media. You don't even have to be looking for it and it pops up. Take a break. Go for a walk. Spend time with your friends and family. Don't watch the news. Don't listen to the news for like a month. I stay in tune, you know, with what's going on. Like, I'm not completely oblivious. Like, I'm not sitting here like, I don't know anything. I know stuff, but I choose to not watch it. You know what gets me about older people and elderly people? They sit there watching the news all day long. I'm like, dude, why? It's depressing. And why are you watching it over and over again? They just repeat the same stuff. They bullshit the same stuff over and over again. And I always wonder how the heck people who work in the news don't have mental health issues, because if I was in the news industry, I would have so much worse and severe mental health problems. Like, how can you sit there all day reporting on stuff and just not break down when you get home? I don't know. These people are robots. I don't know. But I personally think that if we eliminated biased news channels and networks, that things would be a lot better. I think that if we eliminated a lot of stuff, things would be a lot better, but that's just me. I don't watch the news because I majored in journalism. I interned at a station. I know what they do, and it's too depressing, and it's always negative now. And the fourth reason is because they live to keep people in fear, because that's how you keep people submissive. That's how they keep people submissive. They first divide you into separate sides, and then they instill fear in you to keep you submissive and or intolerant of other people's opinions. So that's why I don't watch the news, guys. I hope y'all related to at least some of this content. And if you didn't, then I hope you at least got some nice little tidbits from it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And thanks for watching, guys.